All right, guys, we're here at a Keep San Diego Open rally.
I decided to get myself a MAGA hat because they're very much the uniform of the day here, so I wanted to blend in.
That's right. Right, on Just Life, we stay impartial, but we also got to blend into our surroundings. So here's some footage of what we saw. Decide for yourself what you think. Should San Diego stay open?
When the real president gets reelected, that's only the beginning. These state and local governments, and I'm sure you guys have seen, pardon me for saying, I'll probably be the only one to say, since the COVID scam started, right, when people were put, a tyrannical government said, you know what, we're just going to urinate on the Constitution. That doesn't matter anymore. We're going to put our own agenda out there. We're going to put executive orders out there which strip away rights from the American people and from Californians, and they start to say, well, now we'll just do a beta test for socialism and communism. And I'm not a politician, so I can say these rash things. And when my video went viral and it got about 15 million hits, my business partner and co-founder Chris Lippy, we launched 1776 Forever Free because we saw this tyranny, we saw this oppression, and as a first generation chiropractor, a third generation veteran, and a lifetime patriot, I said, I can't let this happen to my country and the California that I love. And I said, you know what? Because I think about this, and I think about the sacrifice. So as you leave here today, what you need to remember is, what can I do to move the needle? How much more time can I put in? How many more rallies can I go to? How many organizations like 1776 Forever Free or some of these amazing patriots? I'm not going to call them politicians because we know politicians lie through their teeth and they don't stand up for you. These are patriots right here, these gentlemen of office. What can you contribute? How many doors can you knock on? How many rallies can you go to? How can you get involved? That's what it takes to move the needle. So what I need you to do, follow us at 1776 Forever Free. We're going to be in Georgia this weekend, fighting for freedom up there, okay? You can contribute at 1776foreverfree.com. You can go to our merch stand over there. Any sexy shirt like this that you get, which I don't know, I think the best looking women in the world are always conservative women. I'm a little biased, I guess. I'm just saying. I understand what I'm saying. Make sure you get a shirt. I love you guys. God bless you and Semper Fi.
You've heard from a few good men today. Now you're going to hear from a few good women. How about a registered nurse, Maria Wellner?
The CDC actually said on July 13th that detection of viral RNA may not indicate the presence of infectious virus or 2019 nCoV as a causative agent for clinical symptoms. It definitely said that. The performance of this test has not been established for monitoring treatment of the COVID-19 infection, and this test cannot rule out disease caused by other bacterial or viral pathogens. This test is bogus, in my opinion. The cases are going up, and that's why we need to lock down, correct? It's not. The other part of the PCR test that people need to understand is that they're using amplification cycles on it that are basically being, they're upping the amplification. What does that mean? That once the RNA is transcribed to DNA, right? It's such a small snippet that they have to run it through an amplification process. So 35 cycles is what should be a reliable. The World Health Organization, and many of them were using 45 cycles originally to do this test, which actually ups the positive case rates. It absolutely does. It's not reliable and it should not be done. The media and public health officials appear to purposely conflated cases or positive tests with actual illness. Correct? Yep. Yes. So she knows this is not epidemiology. This is fraud. She absolutely says this is fraud. Because of control. It is control, okay? And we are not going to tyranny, right? I will agree, and I want to share a couple of personal stories. That there have been 2 personal stories close to me with kids 12 and 13. One committed suicide, the other tried. And so we cannot say, you cannot separate lives from livelihood. And you cannot separate the economy from public health and say that there is no downward spiral of all of this. That we cannot say that, like we said, the deaths are going to be so rampant if we stay locked down and we keep people isolated. There are extroverts that need to be out. There are kids that need to be at school. And there are definitely people that need to live their lives. The mask. First and foremost, the mask, right?
Muzzle!
Right, a muzzle. Thank you. A muzzle. Yeah. So basically, as far as the mask go, it was proven that people that wore the mask almost or always, often in 2 weeks preceding, they had an 85% positive test rate. So do the masks actually work? If you're wearing a mask and you test positive anyways. What are the masks for then?
Muzzle!
Okay. So you follow science! Follow science! Follow
Science! All right, our next speaker, she is a mom of 7. Woo! Hello. 8 months ago when COVID started, I was furloughed from work. They told me that I couldn't work because COVID-19 had taken over, which is just like this lady's sign says, I scam bullshit. All 7 of my kids were virtual learning, and I have kids ages 2 to 13. And I don't know if you could imagine having a child in each room on a computer, but it was a little bit crazy. I don't think this COVID stuff is really, oh my God, I'm so nervous. They're stripping us of our freedom. They're stripping our kids of their life.
That's right.
They're taking our kids' freedom to just be freaking kids. Gavin Newsom is a joke. He's a joke. He can go and he can party with his friends, but he can tell us that we can't have our family for Thanksgiving. Him and Pelosi can kiss one. I've tried to get unemployment and couldn't get unemployment, been furloughed from work for 8 months. Our income has dropped more than half. We have 7 kids, plus my grandma that I'm taking care of, and my little sister. And I don't even know what we're gonna do. You know, honestly, they're shutting down businesses, they're shutting down families. And I don't think it's fair. I think we need to stand up for what we believe in and fight for what's ours.
That's right.
Next up, Helen Hollis, Mom.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit. My number 1 title is Mom. My second title is Wife. And my third is I'm a social work investigator in a law firm here in San Diego, working surrounded the child welfare system. So personally in my home, I'm going to tell you what safety looks like. We have a safe with our knives, dog leashes, anything that would make my son feel unsafe because he has pretty significant diagnoses. I fought since he was in kindergarten. He's 13 now, in 8th grade. Academics is not an issue. It is psychiatric, social emotional regulation, and reactive attachment. My son has an IEP for emotional disturbance. If I was qualified, even with my social work degree, to homeschool him, I would have his whole life, right? I'm not qualified. I fought with attorneys and made years of payments for those really good attorneys to fight for the rights of my son's educational rights, okay? And so I fought. He goes to a non-public school here in San Diego, which I love the school. I love the people, but as you know, we are all being oppressed. And so I don't care what you call it. You're stealing my son's educational rights. And what that means for me is you're trying to kill my son. That's what that means for me. Because when he gets isolated, he doesn't know how to communicate. He can't regulate. He can't tell you sometimes how he's feeling, right? And so I'm afraid some nights when I go to sleep, I go and double check the safe. There's no knives out. There's no dog leashes out, okay? That's not fair for my son. And imagine trying to work with a vulnerable population and try to keep your son alive and homeschool at the same time. I almost don't even care about the academics. That's how serious it is for me. Who's more vulnerable? It is our children. Guess what? You isolate these children, you create this mental illness, you fear-monger our children until they are so afraid that they have permanent diagnoses, and then in 25 years, like that doctor said, wherever he is, 25 years, you expect them to get up and lead this county? You get up and expect them to lead this country when you've created this? That's not fair. Okay, now on my professional side, you know, we have these children, there are children who only eat at school. They do not eat at home. They're in school getting those 2 meals, breakfast and lunch. Then they go home, they don't get any meals. So guess what? Yeah, I know we give away free meals at the schools. Okay, well that's when you have a parent that's gonna go get the meal. Okay, that's great, that's good. But the vulnerable population that we're talking about here that doesn't get those meals are the ones that are locked in, not being fed. Okay, what about the ones that are sexually abused in their home? What about the ones that are being physically abused? You thought everybody was appalled by the Gabriel Fernandez story? That's happening here in San Diego. And guess what? Our teachers, our mandated reporters are not seeing these kids because they're out of school. So they're not being reported. Our infrastructure that is supposedly put together to, you know, support these children, it's not in place. It's not in place. So you tell me how much you care about our children. You want to riot about our children in cages? Guess what? Our children are in their homes, in cages. You care about our children's rights. Do not tell me for a minute when you have my son at home scared to death, and I prevent him from watching the news. But guess what? He's 13, he's on social media, plus he has interaction with the other kids in class and in school, and they explain why they can't have in person, right? So he does get information, and I try to translate that for him. I just wanted to tell you, because my son, his name is Adam, my whole life, and so I asked him it would be too overwhelming for him to come. I did ask him to come. He wanted to do a rap against Gavin Newsom. I don't know. I told him no. So I did. I asked him. I said, "What is it? If there's one message I can pass off to you to tell these people, how does it feel for you to not be able to go to school?" You know what he said? "I feel like I don't live in a free country." Thank you.
So I wanted to talk about a couple things. I know that this has gone long, and you know, I don't want to keep you all out here, but a couple points. As far as I know, we still have the Constitution in this country. So the only way they can lock us down and impose any restrictions is if there's a state of emergency. A state of emergency, as defined by the California Constitution, is roughly that our medical services are overwhelmed. Well, you've heard from data expert Justin Hart, you've heard from nurse Maria Wellner, from Dr. Cordy Wells. We are not overwhelmed. There is no state of emergency. Anybody attempting to lock a population down under fraudulent measures will be charged accordingly. Fraud carries jail time. I demand to see where they're getting their data from. I want to know what platform they're using to collect this data. It needs to be fully transparent to the citizens of this city. And we want to know who to hold accountable. Who is the person in charge of the data? Because if we find out that this data is fraudulent and you've been complicit in it and locked us down and locked our kids down and kept them out of school, you're going down, man! All right, coming up next.
Go say hi to Mr. T-Rex.
Take pictures. Let's go to this side.
Would you guys like resources, lockdown resources, and what else have we got? America's Frontline Doctors who are mind-blowing, speaking up against this lockdown. Here they are all together, no masks, no social distancing, talking about the destruction of masks. I'm sorry, did I interrupt?
No, is it alright if I film? This is good.
What?
No, it's okay. Is it alright if I film?
Oh, yeah, that's okay. I'm just passing out flyers.
Alright, thank you.
The T-Rex.
Go fist bump him. It'll be funny. You scared to fist bump a T-Rex?
No, it's weird. Just a guy.
Go suck his cock. Not big fans of Nathan Fletcher, huh?
Absolutely not. He's like the brother to the Newsom.
Oh yeah?
He's a wannabe Newsom.